Have you ever just stopped and thought about the invisible network that keeps our daily lives running? We are surrounded by all these services that we use constantly without even a second thought. They just work. So let's dive in and pull back the curtain on this system that's hiding in plain sight. Okay, think about the very first thing you do in the morning. You walk into a room, you flip a switch, and boom, light. So simple, right? Well, behind that one little action, there's this absolutely massive grid of power stations, tangled webs of transmission lines, and countless people, all working together just to get that electricity to you. Or what about grabbing a glass of water? You turn on the faucet, and out comes clean, safe water. It's so easy to forget that this water has been on a whole journey through reservoirs, complex treatment plants, and miles of pipes, all to make that simple, essential moment possible. And then there's the daily commute. Whether you're hopping on a bus or catching a train, you're plugging into a huge transportation system. It's this carefully choreographed dance designed to move thousands upon thousands of us from one place to another every single day. So you've got electricity, water, transport. They all feel like separate things, but they're all connected by this one big idea. Which really makes you wonder, right? What is this invisible network that holds our modern world together? Well, the answer is public services. And the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. These are services coming from both the government and private companies that are there for all of us to use. And the whole point? To make life better for everyone. They are, quite literally, the foundation we build our society on. Okay, so if these services are so incredibly important, that brings up a couple of big questions. Who's actually in charge of providing them? And, how does it all get paid for? Let's break that down. You can pretty much think of it as having two main players on the field. On one side, you've got the government. Its main goal is public welfare. It's not trying to make a profit. Then, on the other side, you have the private sector. They provide a ton of crucial services too, but they're usually driven by profit. And finding the right balance between these two, that's a huge conversation in pretty much every country. So what about the funding? Well, it generally works in one of three ways. First, some services are free when you use them. Think public schools or a lot of healthcare. Of course, they're not really free. They're paid for by all of our taxes. Then you've got things at concessionary rates. This is where the government chips in to lower the cost, making things like water or a bus pass more affordable. And finally, some services are fully charged, where you, the user, pay the entire cost, like you would at a private hospital. But here's the thing. These services didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They're actually a reflection of what a society values and needs, and man, have they evolved over the centuries. Let's take Sri Lanka as an example to see how this plays out. Way back in the ancient kingdoms, rulers built things like giant irrigation tanks and hospitals purely for the public good. Fast forward to the British colonial era, and the whole focus shifts. New services like railways pop up, but they were built mainly to help run the colony and boost commerce. Then you get this huge turning point in the modern era. In 1945, free education is introduced, and that really cements this idea that public services can be an incredible force for social change. And you can literally see that change in priorities right here. On the left, you've got the ruins of an ancient hospital, something built to care for people. On the right, a steam engine, a powerful symbol of infrastructure built for efficiency and profit. Each one tells a totally different story about what that society cared about most. Now, among all these different services, there are two that really stand out. You could call them the fundamental pillars that hold up the rest of society: health and education. Let's start with education. The idea here is so powerful. A country's most valuable resource isn't its oil or its gold or anything like that. It's the people. It's their skills, their knowledge, their potential. And education is the key that unlocks all of it. Now, this slide right here really brings that big idea down to a human level. This quote, it's from a doctor who grew up in a small village. It just perfectly captures the life-changing power of free education. It took a kid from a village, gave them a path to become a doctor, and now that doctor wants to serve their community. That's the whole cycle of public service right there in action. And these images just visualize that entire journey, don't they? It all starts in a small primary classroom. And for many, it can lead all the way to a massive university lecture hall. This whole path is possible because education is treated as an essential service that should be open to everyone. Okay, so that's pillar number one. The second pillar is health. It's pretty simple. A healthy country is a productive country. Public health services make sure that getting sick doesn't have to mean financial disaster, which is just fundamental for a stable society. And here's the crucial thing.
Public health is about so much more than just doctors and hospitals. It's about prevention on a huge scale. We're talking about national campaigns to wipe out malaria, control dengue fever, or prevent cancer. These are the services that save millions of lives before people are even in danger.
So, we've looked at what public services are, who provides them, and how they've changed over time. But let's just zoom out one last time and talk about why this invisible network is truly the bedrock of our communities. At the end of the day, public services are the real, tangible proof of the social contract, that unwritten deal we all make to contribute to a society that, in turn, supports and protects us. They do more than just make our lives convenient. They protect basic human rights, like the right to an education. They push for social justice by creating a safety net for people with lower incomes. And they provide the stable foundation our entire economy needs to even function. So the next time you flip on a light, or catch a bus, or even just walk past a school, take a second. Remember that you're not just looking at a building or a vehicle. You're looking at a piece of living history, a physical record of what your community decided was important, built over generations. Which leaves me with one final question for you. What story do the services all around you tell?